What's up, Titans Nation? Welcome back to the Titans Traffic Update. I'm your host, Gannon Cornley, and we're going to discuss how the Tennessee Titans have made yet another trade up in this year's draft. We're going to break down their selection of Anthony Hill Jr. out of the University of Texas. I'm also going to talk to you guys about how the front office and the coaching staff are in lockstep together, and also to get you guys prepared for what's going to be coming up on day 3 today and what to expect for rounds 4 through 7 for the Tennessee Titans. Before we get started, please make sure we are liking and subscribing for the show. Again, at the end of this episode, please make sure you guys are commenting down below. Let me know what you guys would also like to discuss coming up after this. On my last video, I did get a comment from one of my subscribers at Joshua Giddens Johnson. He said, quote, "Great takes, my man. I would love for you to talk about your projection on the season. Having 2 back-to-back 3-14 seasons, do you think this year will be different?" Absolutely, I do think this year will be different, and this is something I will go over in more depth after draft season is over. So thank you for the comment. Again, if you guys would like me to read out your comments, let me know what you guys would like me to discuss on future episodes. But for today, we are going to focus directly just on the NFL draft. But again, thank you to at Joshua Giddens Johnson for that shout out. But today's show, the Titans have moved up yet again. Remember, we did not have a draft pick in the second round after the Titans traded up to number 31 for Keldric Faulk, the edge rusher out of Auburn. The Titans were left with just pick 69 on day 2, but the Tennessee Titans waited and waited and waited, and they couldn't wait any longer. They had to go get their guy, and they have selected at pick number 60, Anthony Hill Jr., middle linebacker out of the University of Texas. Hill Jr. is 6'2", 234 pounds. He ran a 4.51 at the NFL Combine this year. Just a couple stats so you guys kind of get an idea of who this player is. He's a guy who was at Texas for the last 3 seasons. He had 249 total tackles, 31.5 tackles for loss, and 17 total sacks. Now, I'm going to break down positives and negatives for this pick in just a moment. But guys, let me tell you, this is a guy who I was very big on. And if you guys watched my last episode, I talked about a number of different guys who I thought could be taken and possibly could be available for the Tennessee Titans at pick number 69. I did not believe Anthony Hill would last this long. He was a guy I thought would have been picked in the late 40s or early 50s. He started to slide in the draft just a little bit, and I do not believe that he would have been there for the Tennessee Titans at number 69. So the Titans paired pick 69 and 142 to move up to pick number 60. Again, I love this. They're giving away a 5th round pick. I believe it was 144, But the Titans are giving up a 5th round pick and their pick 69 pick just to move up 9 spots, because rumor has it the Tennessee Titans were going to have to beat out the Denver Broncos. Rumor has it they were going to be taking Anthony Hill right before the Titans did. So the Titans had to jump the Denver Broncos before he went there. So he would have not been there for the Tennessee Titans at number 69. So they did have to make some type of trade if this was the player that they wanted. Again, gonna go into the positives for this. So again, 6'2", 238 pounds, ran a 4.51 at the Combine. So obviously you already know for a linebacker, that is elite speed. To run near a sub 4.5 as a linebacker, you know you have incredible speed. But Anthony Hill Jr. brings elite range and speed. He's a versatile pass rusher. And during his freshman season, he actually lined up a lot as an edge rusher from time to time. So he can rush the passer. He has versatility. He has experience rushing against tackles, guards, all of that. So he's a guy who you can kind of, to mix up the defense just a little bit, put him on the edge for a play or two, or in a package or two, and he can get after the quarterback. So I love that. He's also very aggressive and a sure tackler. He's a guy who's going to not afraid to get his nose dirty. He meets the linebacker in the hole with aggressiveness and force, and he's a big body guy. So a lot of these times on some of his hits, he is bringing the fire. I absolutely love that, which is exactly what you want from your middle linebacker. There are some negatives, and there's always reasons why guys will fall in the draft. I think a big and probably the number one weakness that Anthony Hill Jr. has is his coverage limitations. Now again, this is a guy and I probably should have mentioned this in my positives, but he is very good at forcing turnovers. He forced, I don't have the exact number of how many interceptions, but I know that he forced 8 fumbles over his time at Texas, and he had a number of different interceptions as well over his 3 seasons there. So because of this, he is a guy who likes to bait the quarterback. He has wandering eyes, and he's not the greatest in coverage. So when it comes to zone coverage, that is going to be a limitation for him. And I think that since he's such a young player, again, this is a guy who's only 21 years old. That is a theme for the Tennessee Titans in this year's draft. All 3 of their players that they have selected so far are 21 years of age, and very recently 21 years of age. They're getting these guys as young as possible so they can mold them into the way that they want them. Again, that's the benefit of getting a younger player. They haven't physically matured yet or mentally matured yet to where you would want them to be at as a professional athlete. So if you can get them as early as you can, especially for a rebuilding team like the Tennessee Titans, that's all the better, because those are guys who you can kind of mold. They're not stuck in their ways. They haven't been doing the same thing over and over and over again after 4 or 5, or some of these guys with these COVID years, 6 years of college football. They've only been in college, all 3 of their players, 3 years in college. So you can still get to kind of mold them before they kind of mature too much into their physical and mental side of their bodies. But again, Anthony Hill Jr., coverage and wandering eyes are his 2 biggest weaknesses. He can sometimes also, when he goes up against really, really big linemen, get kind of washed or lost a little bit. And so that'll be something that we'll have to work on, that he'll have to work on in order to take the next step. But this is your starting middle linebacker. I love this pair alongside Cedric Gray. We saw Cedric Gray take the next step last year, had well over 100-something tackles last year in his second year. And I would be comfortable saying that Cedric Gray probably enters next season as a top 10 to 15 inside linebacker in the NFL. After just one really good season, he was really, really good for us last year, and I love what I saw out of Cedric Gray. So now you pair him with the guy in Anthony Hill Jr., who's going to be getting the absolute best coaching of his life, and I'll get a little bit more into that into my next section. But getting Robert Saleh, the linebacker whisperer, getting Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator, a guy who's known for also molding linebackers. Again, Gus Bradley was, again, the Titans defensive coordinator. He was part of the defensive unit and was the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks way back when they started to get that Legion of Boom built together. Again, he was there for the early part, so right before they had won the Super Bowl, so he wasn't part of the team that actually won it with Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner and those boys, but he was part of the selection. He's part of the coaching staff that did draft a lot of those guys before they became who they were. So Gus Bradley has experience working with guys like Anthony Jr., working with frames like Anthony Hill Jr. as well. So I love this selection. Again, this is a Robert Saleh getting his guys, and you can kind of see how we really start to fill out this defensive front 7. I mean, we're going to have Jermaine Johnson, Jeffrey Simmons, John Franklin Myers, Keldric Faulk. As of right now, you probably have Cody Barton as the Sam or Femi, however you want to put one of those 2 guys at the Sam linebacker. And then you have Anthony Hill Jr. at middle linebacker and Cedric Gray, who I think can be a top 10, potentially a top 5 by the end of next season inside linebacker. And he'll be your weak side linebacker for the Tennessee Titans. That is an elite. And let me repeat, because there's not a whole lot of elite on this Titans roster. That is an elite front 7 that you are putting together. This defense, I know you guys can hear it. I am fired up. I am fired up for this defense. This is exactly what I wanted when we hired Robert Saleh. I was very worried. Again, there were some concerns, especially because Robert Saleh had a lot of offensive issues, and so that's why I exponentially loved the hire once Brian Daboll came along, because I was worried about the offense, because I don't want to be in another situation where, yeah, we have a top 5 defense, because Robert Saleh is going to get that defense going one way or another. But now that we have Brian Daboll, and of course we have Cam Ward, a player who, Robert Saleh never had a quarterback, I think, like Cam Ward during his time with the New York Jets. We're starting to piece this together, and I love that Robert Saleh is getting his guys He's going to get his side of the ball correctly. So now it's just all about, and I'll get into this in the third part, all about helping Cam now really start to fill out the rest of this roster and get Cam Ward and this Tennessee Titans offense to be the best of their abilities to go along with this defense that Robert Saleh is going to bring. This is an elite front seven. The secondary, again, still has some questions, but we went out and paid 2 starting cornerbacks, and then we have our 2 safeties already. So the Tennessee Titans defense is, for the most part, as far as starters are concerned, is starting to become filled out. So I love this. Overall, I am giving this an A. This is an A. I won't give it an A+. Again, there's still some limitations. At this point in the draft, unless somebody falls super far, kind of like a Jermon McCoy, but it sounds like with the cornerback out of Tennessee, but it sounds like with all the medical history, it don't matter where you draft him at. I don't even think that could be an A+. So a lot of these guys won't really get an A+ grade at this point in the draft because there's a lot of things going on for why you have fallen this far. But this is an A for me. I absolutely love this pick by the Titans. Again, this is a guy who I did not think would get past pick number 49 especially at the latest pick 54, 55. So the fact that the Titans got him at 60 and almost got him at 69, but they knew they were going to have to move up to go get him. I absolutely adore that pick, and I'm so proud of this Tennessee Titans front office, and I'll let that kind of carry me into the next section here. The Tennessee Titans front office and the coaching staff, they are lockstep. We're hearing a lot of rumors about what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals and that Jeremiah Love pick. Sounds like that was more of an owner pick and not necessarily what the coaching staff wanted. We hear what the Los Angeles Rams have going on. They drafted Ty Simpson and didn't even inform their head coach that that's what they were doing. That was a GM and a potentially owner pick, and not that what the head coach was doing. So we don't want to be in that step, especially with how much this franchise desperately needs the front office and the coaching staff to be on the same page with how much turnover we've had at the GM and the head coaching position. I love this. I absolutely love what these guys have going on right now. The front office and the coaching staff are working together, and I really believe each essential, person in this building really kind of got what they wanted. I feel like the Carnell Tate selection at 4 was all about Brian Daboll. Of course, Mike Borgonzi has to be the one that ultimately is going to pull that trigger. But I think that was a Brian Daboll beaten on the table. I absolutely love that. There was a, if you guys remember the former Cincinnati Bengal wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh, he came out on Friday after the first round selections were over. He came out and he talked on a podcast and stated that he had actually had talks with Brian Daboll, and he and him talked, off air a lot. And he said that, he was kind of picking his brain, who were some guys that he liked, while they were still in the middle of the draft process. And Brian Daboll was huge on Carnell Tate. He said to just keep his eyes open for that being a potential move for the Titans. Of course, TJ kept that, to himself for a while, but clearly he was like, man, I never knew how serious, he really was, and that turned out to be the case. So I absolutely love that the Titans went out and got a guy who Brian Daboll is beating the table for. Of course, he's going to be screaming, Cam Ward needs help. So I love that the Titans went out and did exactly that. So I think Carnell Tate was a Brian Daboll pick. I think Keldric Faulk was a Robert Saleh pick as well, or it was a Robert Saleh pick. I think this, again, linebacker is more of Robert Saleh's thing, but of course he has plenty of experience dealing with edge rushers as well. And you got to think the Titans D-line coach, Aaron Whitecotten. There was a video that I saw on Twitter that showed Aaron Whitecotten dealing with Keldric Faulk at, I believe it was his pro day. He was very involved talking with Keldric Faulk. Again, that was about the only communication that the Tennessee Titans really had with Faulk. Because again, Faulk said he didn't even know the Titans were interested in him. So to me, that is Mike Borgonzi saying, hey, Daboll, what do you need? Again, of course, our biggest need, our biggest thing we have to figure out this year is how to maximize Cam Ward. What does Cam Ward need? He's going to be the reason why this franchise flourishes or tanks. So he went and got Brian Daboll banged the table for Carnell Tate. The Titans went and got him. Next, he's like, Saleh, what do you need? Well, we need edge rusher help. We need someone to be opposite of Jermaine Johnson. Aaron Whitecotten, what are you thinking? I like that Keldric Faulk guy. He's fallen to us in the draft. We're right there. We can move up and get him and not have to give up a ton of draft capital, some, but not a ton, to move up and get him. I love that. So Robert Saleh wins with that draft pick. Aaron Whitecotten, a guy who clearly was involved with that selection. The Titans defensive line coach involved in that pick. And then here, Anthony Hill Jr. I don't know if you guys have watched, but please go on the Titans Twitter page, or I think it's on Instagram as well. Go back and watch. You know how they do the videos of when they are talking to the players on the phone? Go back and listen to Gus Bradley talk to Anthony Hill Jr. after the Titans called him and told him that they were going to select him. Anthony, the way that those two interacted, one of the first things Gus Bradley said was, "I told you we were going to get you." He said, "I told you, didn't I?" And Anthony Hill was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for bringing me." He's like, "I told you we were going to come and get you." He's like, "We just have to stick with the process." He's like, "I told you." So we were excited to come get you. He was like, "How soon can you get here?" And Anthony Hill said, "Man, how fast do you want me to get there?" And then Gus Bradley was like, "Man, just enjoy your time. Enjoy your time with your fam. But man, we can't wait to get you here." He's like, I've been manifesting it. I absolutely love that. So, and again, and Gus Bradley, he's the defensive coordinator, so he's overseeing the defense as a whole. But of course, Robert Saleh is the guy who's going to be calling the defensive plays. So Robert Saleh, who's the linebacker whisperer, and then to see the guy that Robert Saleh's over, who's going to be handing the defense over to him when he's got to deal with head coaching responsibilities, and the guy who we need to help teach his defense, and Gus Bradley. That Gus Bradley's the one pounding the table for Anthony Hill. So we're appeasing to our offensive coordinator, our defensive-minded head coach, our defensive play caller, our defensive line coach as well with our other first-round pick, and then with our second-round pick, we're appeasing to our defensive coordinator, who basically tried to manifest that we were going to get Anthony Hill Jr. This is everything that we have been wanting as a Titans fan, as Titans fandom. This is what we've been begging for. We've had too much. John Robinson wants to do this. Vrabel wants to do this. Then it was Vrabel wants to do this, but Rand Carthon wants to do this. Then Rand Carthon's doing this, but Brian Callahan prefers this. Then it's, well, Brian Callahan's kind of doing this. Is Mike Borgonzi in charge? Is it Chad Brinker? But now we know Mike Borgonzi's in charge. Now we got to get rid of Brian Callahan. There's too much. And this is over the course of just the last 3 to 4 seasons. There's too much. We know Mike Borgonzi is listening to his coaching staff. Of course, he has final say. I'm sure there's some other guys that those coaches wanted that he was probably like, it's a little too rich for, or I don't feel like moving back here or moving up for this guy or this guy. But you can tell that he's truly listening to his coaching staff and getting the players that they believe can be the most successful. So if you're a Titans fan and you're upset, because I know there were some people saying Anthony Hill had a day 3 grade, and I have not seen that from anywhere. Everywhere I've seen Anthony Hill was going very early second round to at most about where the Titans' original 3rd round pick was, which was pick 66. I have not seen him go past that on just about anybody's mock draft, anyone's draft analysis. He graded to be a early to mid second round pick. So, day 2 pick rather. So I absolutely love this. Again, there are still some questions, and I'll address that next for this Titans roster. But this is all we can ask for, guys. Like, there are people freaking out. We're trading up. We're getting rid of picks and this and that. Listen, guys, this is not a good draft. This is not a good draft, especially on the offensive end. Like, this is, if you're going to get someone, you need to get somebody on the defensive end, on the defensive side of the ball. So I absolutely adore this pick because, again, like I said, Robert Saleh is our head coach. So I know there were some offensive linemen that people wanted. There was some tight ends that people wanted. I even tweeted it out. Could they possibly double up at receiver? There were some receivers who I thought would have gone a little bit earlier than they really did. Brazel, Chris Bell, who I thought would have gone a little bit earlier. There's some other guys that went a lot later that I thought the Titans maybe could have traded up and wanted to get just because they fell so far. But this is what we wanted, guys. Like, we need the GM and the coaches have to be on the same path, because even if even if Borgonzi's not the greatest GM, or even if these coaches, are not the greatest coaching staff in the world, at least if we have a plan, we know these guys aren't dumb, right? They're not dummies. They understand football. They understand how a championship team works. I mean, Robert Saleh went with the 49ers. They went to the Super Bowl before. Mike Borgonzi's come from Kansas City, where they got several rings while he was there. In fact, all their rings with Patrick Mahomes, he was there during that time. So they know how to win. Chad Brinker's with the Packers when they won the Super Bowl. There's a lot of guys who've been on part of teams who've won Super Bowl, so they know what it takes. So even if they're not operating at the best of their ability, at least if they're on the same level, the same think space, they're on the same wavelength, then we're going to be okay. Because the Titans are going to draft players that are going to fit this game. You have nobody trying to outdo somebody, or I'm drafting this player just simply because I believe in him, or the owner's getting involved, or this and that. This is exactly what we've been asking for the last 4 seasons. Ever since John Robertson traded A.J. Brown, we have been begging to get to this moment. Ever since we traded A.J. Brown, we have been begging to get to this moment. So do not come in here and complain about why the Tennessee Titans are selecting a linebacker. We have a coach who's all about linebackers. We have a coach who loves versatile edge rushers. Again, Mike Borgonzi mentioned it after the Keldric Faulk draft pick. He said, "Yeah, we were thinking about Eric Armstead, who used to be a former defensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers. He was there when Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator. So we potentially could use him a lot like Eric Armstead. We're going to get guys that are going to favor what the Tennessee Titans are going to be about. Again, if you weren't a fan of the Robert Saleh coaching hire, I understand. Again, I don't really know who you guys wanted that was actually available for them. Again, there were a ton of guys. I mean, of course, I wanted John Harbaugh. And again, this is all topics that happened before I started this podcast that I, have my own opinions on. But this is what we wanted, guys. This is exactly what we wanted for our head coach and our GM to be in lockstep. So since we are here, we can't undo the hire. Robert Saleh is our head coach. All we can do now is lean into what he is best at and what his coaching staff is going to be best at. So if Aaron Whitecotten, who's been around the league for a long time and he knows defensive linemen, if he's banging the table for Keldric Faulk, then let's go get him. Again, he may not be a Hall of Famer. There are too many people who are wanting gold jackets out of all these players, man. Like, we have got to stop. We just need solid players who can fit into a scheme. Look at the team that just won the Super Bowl. Who has Hall of Fame potential on the Seattle Seahawks as this stands today? Who? The only person I can think of right now, and he's still a ways away, is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Their quarterback is not on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Kenneth Walker is not on a Hall of Fame trajectory. They have some good old linemen. I don't know if they're Hall of Fame worthy. And of course, they had an elite defense, but it was about their unit, not about individual guys. It was as a unit and what they built with Mike McDonald there in Seattle. It wasn't about individuals and these Hall of Fame players. Unless you have a Tom Brady, a Mahomes, you have to build out guys who are just pieces. So we have got to stop thinking, man, this guy only had 10 sacks, or this guy is not the greatest in coverage. They're not going to be a perfect prospect. We passed on probably the best linebacker prospect the Titans will come across for a while. Oh, we cross our fingers. We don't want to be drafting number 4 anytime soon. So, like, Sonny Styles was as close as you're going to get to a near perfect prospect as a linebacker. So again, these guys are all going to have their flaws. But again, if this is what the coaching staff is wanting, and Mike Borgonzi can adhere to that, and Chad Brinker and all the executive scouting and the scouting department, if they are all cool with that, that's what we need, guys. We absolutely need that. So I love what the Titans have done, even if I didn't necessarily like where they took them. Again, I'm still, just because I'm talking a little bit more positive, I still think that it was still a little too rich for Carnell Tate at number 4. I had Keldric Faulk going a lot earlier than 31, so I absolutely love that pick. And then same with Anthony Hill Jr. going at pick 60. I had him going earlier. I like this. I think what the Titans are doing, they're getting their guys, even if it's not necessarily what I personally would have done. I can understand what they're doing, and you can see how they're tying this in and how this is going to start elevating the Titans. We're raising our floor right now. I think the Titans are really raising their floor. Never again are we going to be at this, like my commenter Josh brought up, 3-14. We are done with that stuff. I'm not saying we're going to be this, win the Super Bowl next year, but we're done with that stuff. That 3-14, gone. We're done with that. We are done with that stuff, man. We've got to quit being down here with the Jets and Giants and Browns. We've got to be done, and the Raiders here of late. We've got to be done with that stuff. So the Titans are trying to elevate their floor right now, get guys who fit into their system, who may not be all-world players, but they are worth a game extra here, a game here or there. And we're looking at 6 to 7 wins, 8 wins here. And then when we really get elite, that's just only going to get, when we get more elite players, only going to skyrocket us higher and higher. So I love what this draft has represented so far, and the Titans are not done. Moving over to my final section for today. The Titans, they've moved around a bit. That's why I keep getting confused on who they have left here. And just to make sure I'm steering you guys in the right direction here, I'll make sure I have this right, because the Titans have moved quite a bit. So remaining for the Tennessee Titans, they have pick 142, 160, and this is a 5th round pick, 142, 165 in the 5th round, 184, 194, both of those picks in the 6th round, and then they have 225 in the 7th round. So again, that's 142 in the 4th, 165 in the, 142 in the 5th, 165 in the 5th, 184 in the 6th, and 194 in the 6th, and then a 225. So again, the Titans can potentially package 142 and probably 184 or 194 and probably move back up, because again, 142 is I believe it's the second pick of the 5th round. So simply just having 142 and then throwing in a 6th round pick will move you back up into the 4th round. So I think the Titans really do want to pick in every single round. I think they had a plan. We want 8 guys or 9 guys in this draft, and that's what we're setting out to do. So they may have anywhere from 8 to 9. So I think that's what they're planning on doing. So I think they're going to package 142 and probably like 184 or 194, move back up and get a pick into the 4th round. So they have 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 4th, and then you still have 165 that you can operate with. And then you have the other 6th round pick that you didn't trade. So again, for just example, like I said, they packaged 142 and 194 to move up to pick like 120, right? So now you get a 4th round pick. Then you still have pick 165 in the 5th. Then you have pick 184 in the 6th, and then you have your 225 there. And again, caveat here, I still think the Tennessee Titans would like to trade quarterback Will Levis. So Will Levis is very much on trade watch. I think the Titans can have anywhere from a 5th to a 6th round pick if they want to get rid of him before this upcoming season. So I would like to think they can get him for a 5th, and if they could do that sooner than later, that would be great. That way they can use that 5th round pick maybe as extra ammo to trade even further up. Because I mean, again, imagine, and I'm going to pull up the draft order here in front of me. Imagine, I'm thinking about teams who could potentially need another quarterback. Well, I looked at Miami. Of course, I have Malik Willis, but wouldn't that be something? Malik Willis and Levis on the same team again. Maybe a team like, and again, I don't know who the backup quarterback is for maybe the Green Bay Packers. Again, it's going to be a team, maybe the Minnesota Vikings. They have Kyler Murray right now and JJ McCarthy, but again, I don't think they're sold on any of those guys. But the Vikings have picked 159 and 163 in the 5th round. You're telling me they maybe wouldn't take a flyer on Will Levis? I don't think that would be out of the realm of possibility. Not at all. Trying to think. I mean, the Titans wouldn't trade within the division. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers, they drafted Drew Aller out of Penn State, so maybe not them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's another team I could see the Titans trading Will Levis to. The Bucs have picked 155 and 160 in the 5th round. You go trade him, and then you can use pick 159 or 155 or 160. combine that with pick 165 or 142 in the 5th round and move right back up into the 4th round. And then you still have other 5th round picks that you continue to fill out this roster for. So again, the Titans need offensive line help. And so that's where I really think the Titans probably will be headed next, whether they stick and pick in the 5th round or if they do some type of trade up. Again, my bet would be that the Titans do trade up, make some type of trade up in some capacity. And you see that the Titans have not held back on doing that. But that's really where I think we're at now, going into today and into day 3. But man, how could you not like what the Titans have done so far, especially just over the totality of Mike Borgonzi's tenure with the Tennessee Titans, with the 2 drafts he's done so far. Again, we've had so many over the last few years. The Titans have made some what are those picks? The non-conventional, let's just go with the non-conventional picks. I mean, just going back to Rand Carthon, he drafted Peter Skoronski at 11. Again, I'm fine with Skoronski, but again, we needed offensive line help, but a guard at 11, traditionally not what teams do. And Jackson Smith-Njigba was right there. Now, a lot of people were banging the table for Jackson Smith-Njigba, but instead we went with an offensive guard. We went a tackle who was converting to guard. Then we trade up for Will Levis, a quarterback that a lot of the fan base did not want, a quarterback that fell in the draft. Then we go with Tajay Spears in the 3rd, go running back, and injury history, this and that. Again, probably not the most ideal. Again, some of these players could have worked out, and I think Spears is a fine player, but that was a little bit against the grain from Rand Carthon. Then you go to the next draft. We take J.C. Latham. Again, there was a lot of people. Of course, we all wanted Joe Alt out of Penn State. Olu Fashanu out of I meant Notre Dame. But Olu Fashanu out of Penn State was another player that a lot of people had mocked to the Titans. You know what we do? The Titans instead go with J.C. Latham. Again, another guy who probably hadn't mocked for a ton of people outside of the top, or inside the top 10. The Titans take him at pick, I think it was 7 that year. We take him at 7. Then what do? We take Tavondre Sweat, a nose tackling defensive tackle, early in the 2nd round. Again, unconventional wisdom. Most people do not take run-stuffing D tackles in that early into the 2nd round. So we went with a tackle that a lot of people didn't have as a top 10 pick. Then we went with a nose-stuffing tackle in the 2nd round. We didn't have a 3rd round because we traded for Snead. And then we went with Cedric Gray in the 4th. It's like it's just taken too long to get a GM that's like, let's not overthink this. Because there are rumors that maybe the Titans still wanted Abdul Carter and this and that last year. No, we're taking Cam Ward. Being a quarterback, we're taking Cam Ward. That's what we did. This year, again, I didn't want Carnell Tate at 4, but the Titans need a pass catcher. You know what we're doing? We're going to get him a pass catcher. Let's go get it. Then what do we need next? We need an edge rusher, Keldric Faulk, and we'll trade up to go get him. Robert Saleh, we still need a linebacker because Cody Barton, my lord, cannot cover to save his life, and he's so slow. My goodness, we needed speed at the linebacker position. What does Mike Borgonzi do? He goes and gets one of the fastest linebackers in the entire draft, and a guy who Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley desperately wanted. I feel like Mike Borgonzi's not overthinking this. He's getting guys like, yeah, maybe we wouldn't have wanted to draft him that high or give up this, draft capital for, but he is taking the conventional wisdom. Receiver is who we need. We need an edge rusher. We need an off-ball linebacker, and that's why I think offensive line logically is next. I think offensive line, cornerback, and again, I continue to say I think a sneaky position that the Titans will take at some point in this draft is safety. I think we need a long-term 3rd safety in case we have to make some difficult decisions on Amani Hooker, because last year was pathetic, to put it lightly. So that will do it for me today. Again, let me know what you guys think and what your overall grade is. Again, let me know now that I'll probably do one more brief, probably shorter than this episode, just rounding out what all the Titans did on day 3. And then next week, when I come out with next week's show, well, I will see if I'm doing the next week's show. I have some personal things going on, so maybe not next week, but the week after, I'll start to get more into where I think this Titans team can go once we know their full roster, at least up until that point. So please like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, what your grades are. Again, what topic you like to talk about next. I'm going to break down where I think the Titans can go, especially after their disappointing back-to-back 3-14 seasons. But I love this, man. I love this. Thank you guys for my supporters already, my subscribers, my people who continue to listen and give me views and likes. I really appreciate you guys. Please share this. Again, if you have Titans fans in your lives, in your community, let them know about this podcast. Again, I love what I'm doing so far. I'm going to continue to do it. Also, check out my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, as I like to post a lot of little shorter videos. Even here on YouTube, I post a lot of YouTube shorts talking about, just giving quick 1-minute analysis of what I think and how excited or disappointed I am, or where my head's at, where the Tennessee Titans are in that moment in time. So again, thank you guys for all the support so far. I want to continue to grow this out. Again, I want this to be about you guys. This is not for me. I enjoy doing this, but I enjoy doing this because I get to talk sports with fans of my favorite NFL team. Again, I'm not local in Nashville, so this is just even a better way over social media to engage with you guys and talk about our favorite NFL football team and just football in general. That's my favorite sport on earth. So again, thank you guys so much. As always, tighten up, like and subscribe, comment down below.